Welcome to the Getting High on Leadership series featuring Paul Karasik. Paul is one of America's top management consultants helping leaders succeed. He is the author of 9 books, including Sweet Persuasion and Brilliant Thoughts and Provocative Questions. His insights appear regularly in major publications, and he is one of the most sought-after executive coaches. Paul founded the American Seminar Leaders Association and the Psychedelic Institute of Los Angeles. He is a popular speaker at national conferences and has been on stages across all 50 states and internationally. Paul's work addresses the question, how can we transform conflict in business into collaboration? With decades of experience in management, leadership, and psychedelics, he brings a unique perspective on personal and societal growth. In this series, we'll be discussing his latest book, Getting High on Leadership, The Leader's Guide to Higher Consciousness. We'll be exploring the concepts, techniques, and mindset required to revolutionize leadership. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Getting High on Leadership series. My name is Rob Sanchez, your host for the series, and we are joined by the author of Getting High on Leadership, Paul Karasik. We're making our way through the book section by section, and today we're talking about the source of power. Welcome, Paul. Where can we begin here?
Well, we're keying off that last chapter and kind of connecting the dots here.
I can see things overlapping and building up a little bit of a foundation within this first part of the book, for sure.
Yeah, and they're all interrelated. And actually designing the book, structuring it was a challenge in the sense that many of them, it's not a linear thing we're doing here. And to put it in a linear fashion kind of disrupts it a little bit, but it's pretty close. You need that kind of circular approach towards the education, to see some of it, think about it, maybe see some of it again, reconsider it from a different perspective. Definitely helps to kind of fully embrace it, grok it. So the source of power, where is the source of power? Is it in the title? Obviously not. That's apparent. Somebody's called whatever position they're in, and the fact is that they really don't have a powerful position at all. People are doing what they want to do, right? Leaders who rule by personalities, and we see that in politics all the time, but they don't have a lot of skills. They don't do well either, because their skill sets in leadership are lacking. Even though they have a very attractive personality, people want to be around them, and maybe whatever the case. Leaders who rule with compassion, they have everything. And that's the point of this chapter. It intertwines to one of the first concepts when we talked about earlier, which is to be for them to care, you have to care. You have to model the behavior you expect from them, right? And to do this, it requires, like you've said a couple times in this program, authenticity. And you can't phone it in. And that's the source of power. Why is it the source of power? Because that's what creates the loyalty. That's what allows for people to work those extra 5 or 10 hours for the week without complaining. Come in on Saturday. Come in early when it's necessary. Do stuff at home after the scope of the work is really not there. This is where great things are accomplished. This is where people give unselfishly, energetically, joyously to whatever the mission or purpose of whatever you're going towards. And it all comes from me and how they're not going to come with that caring. No, I have to come with the caring. And then they care. And that's the real power of a leader.
And not get caught up in that ego trip or kind of power trip that leaders can get on, where they are technically authoritative because of their role or the position they're playing on the team, But if that's the only thing that they're using to drive their actions, or the only reason why they're expecting the team or those following them to
Mm-hmm.
continue to follow them or enjoy
Mm-hmm.
it, they've
Mm-hmm.
got something else to learn. And it
Yeah,
seems, even explaining it, it seems obvious, right? I
it
think
does.
anybody watching would be like, yeah, almost duh, right? You have to, you need to behave like that as a leader. But then we still see in organizations and in environments where leaders are needed
Mm-hmm.
that go into their head, right? That ego trip, kind of messing things up or getting in the way. Even maybe
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, if their intention is to stay true, it can creep up and start to taint things or kind of spread across the organization.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, Rob. It's ego. Like what is that? What is preventing the person in a leadership position from caring, from being concerned, from getting involved with the person? It's ego. It's I am this and you are that. It's separation, and this is where consciousness is the core of everything we're talking about here. To be conscious that that person is you. Uh, there's no difference between them and you, uh, between the leader and the other and the person who's not in that position.
Which
That
really
this is
removes all labels right away. So the
got to
title
get it.
is almost superficial now.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. If the ego is gone, um, then you wash the dish. You know, then you sweep the floor when it needs sweeping. Then you have humility to say that the leader is no better, is and we're going to talk about this shortly in another chapter, is a part of the team and is on the team equally, even though they're leading the team, they're still a component of the team. Do you follow what I'm saying? They're still a team member, and as a team member, we have to have humility and subjugate ourselves to the needs, to the direction, through the caring, through the emotion of everybody else on the team. And that's real power. That's when people will do anything for you. That's when, CEOs say we're all taking a pay cut and everybody goes, all right. And that's when you see extraordinary things accomplished, by teams, by people, by groups, because it's not incentivized by money and it's not pushed by fear of do this or you lose your job, or do this or you're off the team. It's true motivation coming from themselves. And you're so right. It seems so obvious, Rob, that if you would be so powerful as a leader if you just showed human kindness to the people that report to you. It seems so logical, doesn't it?
Yeah, like almost what they would be telling a 4-year-old. Like, hey,
Yeah.
be nice,
Yeah,
and then your friends will want to play with you more.
that's my mother used to say. You're
Yeah.
so right. She used to say, "Be a good boy." She'd say, "I want you to be a good boy." And yeah, it's so obvious, and yet I walk into situations in companies, organizations that are so toxic, so far away, so costly. I know there's one organization that I've done work for. People are being replaced. It costs $500,000 minimally to replace a mid-level manager. Between loss of business, loss of opportunity, cost for the replacement, uh, severance or whatever payments need to be paid. Sometimes there's legal fees when people sue. On average, and that's a low number, $500,000. So I'm talking very practically right now. Whether you're in a corporate situation as a team or you're working in other venues, it's cost when just the mathematics of this is it's better to be a kind, caring, compassionate leader financially. We're not even talking about that's really the way we're supposed to live. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
right. You're coming at this with a
just
capitalist
pure
hat on. Yeah.
pure business, pure business. come in, smile, treat people good, and you're going to make more money. It's a fact. Like I said, just if you add up the cost of this bad behavior, it's extraordinary, and there's no return on it. I mean,
especially when it starts impacting employee retention or things more serious maybe than just replacing a single middle manager. If now the new one impacts 2 others that leave, and you can have a domino effect of a kind of culture turnover happening.
Oh, it's constant. There's
due to 1 or 2 kind of issues that maybe should have been addressed a few months earlier.
There's no culture, and I sometimes I mention a lot of negative experiences, but I've walked into little software companies sometimes where I'm blown away. The main tech is a woman. She's got her baby in the room with her. I'm in some office, and there's an area for dogs, and
they've got it figured out, and people are happy there.
They got it all figured out. If we take care of our employees, they're going to take care of us, and just show that compassion. The thing is, we get so driven by our own selfish and self-centered needs and desires and outcomes that we just step on other people, and we just say, just get it done, or and that stuff just doesn't work. It doesn't work with people. And, I admit to myself, in my striving sometimes, especially in my younger years, I just made that mistake a lot. And so I'm not
kind of, you have the vision so strongly, right? It's just, you feel this passion. It can be hard as a leader sometimes to keep that communication gift wrapped and nicely delivered, not necessarily as sharp as you may see it, just because it might be your vision people are working to achieve.
Exactly. So I don't want to make it a bad thing, and I don't want to say that people like this are soulless and uncompassionate. It's not true. It's just that they're misdirected. And again,
something happened. They're hurting, right? Too. The reason why these leaders are potentially failing, it's not like we're looking at them and saying, you are the problem. I think just as much as we're saying that the team needs to be healed or the team needs to have compassion, these people that are trying to lead or may have been leading a team astray need to be healed or have that same compassion for themselves, or maybe their company needs to give it to them if they're trying to change, or if their project is changing, or if you're trying to be different with your family and they're still giving you grief maybe about things you did. I think there's a balance, right, on expecting the team or on wanting the team to be better, but also just wanting to heal the leaders themselves. I think that's kind of that circular aspect of the book. It is.
It is, and it's a core issue in the book, which is we can only bring as much consciousness to the job as we have in ourselves. And that's our limiting factor. And so a lot of times people say, what's the book about? And I go, it's about how leadership can be a vehicle for your own consciousness to rise up. It can be a vehicle for you to grow in consciousness. And it can be a vehicle for you to point out and to learn how consciousness affects outcomes. Right?
Very well put. Very well.
Yeah,
put.
I think that that's the core of what we're trying to say in this little piece here.
And I think it does present a unique perspective on leadership that you don't see in with leadership advocacy or kind of leadership improvement. It's not often looked at. Embarking on this path of leadership will improve your consciousness.
Right.
It's more about, embark on this path of leadership to make your things better, to lead better, it's always kind of that next, almost that next sphere out. And I think keeping the focus on the consciousness side and on, the ability of the leader to have that care and compassion is key, man. Anything else we should share with the listeners about this section?
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is this is tuned into our mission and purpose in life. And so it always feels good when you follow this path, the source of power being your caring and your compassion. because that's your path. That's not just yours, but it's everybody's path. Why we're here. And this is a belief, and when things are a belief, I always say it's a belief. When it's a fact or a law, I'll say that. This is my belief, that we are here to raise our consciousness. That's why we're here, to expand in our capacity of love, of consciousness, of life, of truth. That's why we're here. That's the reason we're here. So when you lead with this, now you're aligned with your personal mission and what you're actually doing, and everything feels right. Everything feels right. And so, it's not just you doing it to manipulate, to get more done. So how was your weekend? No, that's not it. Like that was out of a book. I ask people that work for me, how was your weekend? I'm not putting it down, but
don't rely on just that.
It's not, it's about the energy. It's about the energy behind it. And that intention of saying, this is a human being equal in every way to me. This is another divine emanation of cosmic consciousness that is equal to me. This is, you know what I mean? There's no difference in that person. And my role here is to have compassion. That's my role. That's my mission. That's my purpose. And by doing it, I'm going to grow. Oh, by the way, business is going to do great as a result of this. I'm going to do better with retention. I'm going to attract the best people to work with. It's going to create opportunities for me to move on to other things. All that stuff comes from it. But I just want to put a bow on that and say, if we look at it as our personal mission, then we keep the authenticity to everything we do. That this is our opportunity to grow, to learn how to show compassion to somebody when, it's 1 minute from where we have to get stuff in the mail and it's not ready.
Deadlines on the table. Yeah.
Yeah, deadlines are on the table. So thank you, Rob.
Yep. Thanks, Paul. And folks, check out the book link below if you'd like to follow along with us on this journey through the book. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Getting High on Leadership series. If you have any questions, you can comment below or send them in via email to paul@paulkarasik.com. Follow him on Instagram at PK_the conversation. Find out more at wholesalerinstitute.com and psychedelic-awakening.com. The Getting High on Leadership series is produced by Rob Sanchez and Apartment 113, which can be found at apartment113.com and followed on Instagram at APT_113.